Okay, it's 10:02 p.m. Friday, 7/31/2020, the last day of July, and as we head into August, and then we'll see what's going to happen into the fall and the winter and how far this will go with the church still being here. And I would hope and expect that we're gone from here very shortly. I have so many things that I want to share, that I have to share, that I could share. I don't know where to start, but I'm going to try to start here. I am suffering from a small amount of heat exhaustion, which I get every summer, and I can't stand it, and I'm hoping that things cool down. I see that there's a possible hurricane forming to the south near Florida, which might come right up the coast, so that might cool things down and keep things cloudy for a while. Anyway, I'm just backed up with dreams and all kinds of things that I have to share. And like, was it last night? I can't even keep track of this anymore. I don't know, but when I woke up in the morning, as soon as I gained consciousness and still had my eyes closed, it seems like in my mind I heard the words, I guess, get ready for a roller coaster. And that was it. Oh, I'm sorry. That was it. And then this morning I awoke and I realized I had a short dream about a cat that was somewhat emaciated with only 3 legs. And I'll talk about that at the end. I'm not sure because I didn't come here to do that, but I might include that and get it over with and put it in one video because there's so many videos I need to do. It's crazy. And I think the cat dream ties in with all of this about Gnosticism and a false gospel that is happening and everything going on with that. And then I had a dream several days ago, which I had mentioned in another video, that I was a teacher and it was the first day of school. And it was a short dream. I'll probably talk about that. It's short. Like I said, I might include that in here. But also that relates to a dream that Amanda Christian had, I think, the night before, which was like last week that this happened or so. So the very next day I had this dream, and hers was that it was the last day of school, okay? So God is speaking through His Spirit in all these different ways, through dreams and so forth. So schools and dreams have to do with the mind, with knowledge, with mere learning. And that's what they're referred to, schools, universities, the halls of knowledge. And I'll read a brief paragraph in a comment that Amanda Christian left concerning that dream in a moment, and then my response, and then probably just briefly talk about my dream, about it being the first day of school, and also how this cat dream ties directly into this in the same way. I'm just so exhausted, and before I even do that again, I want to mention something else also, is that I am going to do another video. I haven't recorded it yet, but I wrote this, long piece, and it's very involved about, is it scriptural to accept Jesus into our heart, and then getting into the Gnosticism and that type of thing. And that's what I want to probably do after this video, if I get to it, but it's very long, very involved. And I went to go, maybe try to record it last night, but I couldn't get myself to do it. I just couldn't, because of spirit of sadness and, from the Holy Spirit. I think God's Spirit is very grieved about all of this, how others just won't see. They just won't accept it. They stay blind, and they just want to keep accusing and attacking like vultures, and that's what they're doing. And They just exist in spiritual darkness. And so, but also concerning the feeling I had last night before trying to do that video, and I just said, forget it, I'm just going to wait, because of this sensing that came over me, a sorrow. But also it was like something special about this video that I'm going to be presenting, and I hope others will listen to it. Like I say, it's long, but it's very involved and in-depth, and it gives, I think, a really good explanation of everything that's happening, that's going on with this, this half gospel that I call it, without any heart or soul or anything good of, the fruits of the Spirit, all those things just totally rejected. It's unfortunate, and Christ himself rejected from entering others' hearts and making that to be a work, disgustingly. And I'm going to talk about that. But again, a very special feeling came upon me also with that video. So I think it is a special thing, sort of a one-of-a-kind type of video that I've done. And so that's the feeling, the sense that I get about it. It's just one of those things where you just sense that it's really important and meaningful and a momentous type video. I really do hope others will watch it. And, I'm not going to put up with these vultures. I really am not. I don't have the strength or energy to, and why should I? They talk about mark and avoiding. Well, that's what I'm going to do. Unfortunately, they're just attackers, just wolves, and they continue to do it. And that's just the way it's going to be. So this is what Amanda Christian, I don't know if you could read it, her comment about her dream. Now, this dream, I believe she did do a video, a more all-inclusive description that had much, much more to this dream, I think. And I think this was just part of it that she may have even left out of the long video giving the full description. I forget. But anyway, she left this to me. She said, I had a dream on Friday. Yeah, see, a week ago. This was a while ago. I had a dream on Friday. We were at a school, and I knew school was over and it was time to go home. But there were kids that never left. They fell asleep in the hallways. Their eyes were wide open, but their eyes were filled with black. I kept telling them, it's cut off. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, what happened was, from my recollection, she said that she kept telling them to wake up, I believe, and they wouldn't, and then she just floated into the air. So this is a rapture dream, and also a dream directly related to this Gnosticism going on, and such a vivid and horrifying description. They fell asleep in the hallways. Their eyes were still wide open, but they were filled with black, okay? That's those who think that they're enlightened, that they have eyes wide open, but they're still asleep and they're in darkness. Their eyes are dark and they're not conscious. So then my response was, that says it all. Very sad. School suggests learning, mental facts, ever learning, not coming to a true salvational experience inwardly. Very creepy picture of inner darkness. They appeared awake, but in fact completely asleep, and left there in their state. Satan is very deceptive, and what is happening now, just before the rapture, with an incomplete false head gospel, seems to be what this could be about for sure. And they say God doesn't speak in dreams. All these dreams are confirmations. We're trying to tell them to wake up, but they will be left here in their unregenerate state if they are not truly born again. Crazy. A very telltale sign this dream was. It seems amazing that they could have been, quote, preaching grace all along, yet remained dead in their sins, not having actually experienced what they claimed to believe. It was in their head, doctrine, a profession without effect, or Jesus actually indwelling their hearts, which they can't stand hearing about. To them, that is works. That sounds very judgmental, but I think reality and the exposing of their fruits concerns what is really there. Darkness, children of light compared to the children of darkness, that we were all together with them like classmates, but they didn't have the light of God's Spirit within. Time to go soon, soon. And so in that dream, Amanda Christian also had, like I said, much more detail about this. And one of the things that occurred in the dream was yet again, the dream concerned David Benjamin. And I haven't mentioned names up to this point, but I'm not holding back at this point, and neither should I feel, that I should. So anyway, that's what it was about, who it was about again. And I guess what she said, that there was a demon holding onto his leg, trying to hold him down. He was like half asleep or not, and his eyes were black also, I think, and sort of pleading for help to wake up, that he could wake up. And then I think that's when, she rose, or she was rising or floating above, and that, that's what happened. And Sherry Rich also mentioned that many women had very evil, sexually related dreams, which he was in. And again, I'm not trying to, when I mentioned something sexual, like with that other dream, people got all upset. I mean, we're adults here. I didn't want to say that dream. I don't believe it was from God. I believe it was, from the enemy trying to bring that against me. But but I think that they're afraid, they're fearful to speak out, about this, because it's such a big thing going on, and it involves the gospel itself. And I do want to mention once more, before I forget, that it continues to bother me quite a bit and upset me. I mean, I don't let it get to me, but I mean, when I hear things like, again, those who are somewhere in the middle, I keep using the term like Job's comforters or backseat drivers. In other words, those who are sort of like snippy, or whatever the word is, kind of an attitude, because it's like they don't want to hear anything that anyone's right or wrong. It's like they're sort of putting anyone or everyone in their place. It's sort of like they're in between, as if they don't have, sides, that kind of thing. And I do want to address that. At least I'm doing it here again, because I don't think that's right. It's just it's condemning. It's doing the very same thing, it really is, and sort of putting others down for standing for the truth, sort of like, like if two brothers, let's say, get in a fight, and the mother, braids them and gets involved and just says, I don't care who started it, knock it off, you're both punished, that kind of thing. And the person who it was happening to, they had a right to defend themselves, if the other brother was the one initiating it and attacking them. And so it's not fair, it wasn't fair that both of them should be, either punished or made to seem like no one was right. And so that's a problem too within the church, a lack of discernment and understanding and seeing what right and wrong is, and clearly defining the parameters and having discernment. And yeah, it does bother me. It really does. Because instead of defending and supporting those who need to be and aren't the ones, initiating something or having the wrong spirit, but simply defending themselves and saying what God told them in a dream or whatever, you know. But just sort of making it seem like that, directly basically saying that, but in a nice way, that it's of your flesh. Don't fall for it. Just let it go. Let God deal with it. All this kind of thing. Without support, it's just sort of the same thing. It's not helping whatsoever. It's like we all should get along, and then they bring up the unity thing. I'm not going to harp on this much longer, but when I get chances like this, I want to say it and continue to say it, because this is part of the issue too. Because what they're really doing is they're really condemning you, even though they seem like they're trying to help. And like the mother saying, I don't care who started it, both you are wrong, knock it off. And then not seeing the bigger picture, and that's the most important thing. What the bigger picture here is, not some petty things going on or back or forth bickering, but the gospel itself. And I'll keep repeating that too. And others may not understand what's happening here, may be blind to it, maybe willingly blind to what's happening here. And they themselves are keeping things on a personal, lower tier level of things, and making that seem like the issue when that's not the issue at all. It's a satanic onslaught and attack, and Jesus is returning, and the true gospel is at stake, and it's being exposed, and there's such backlash, and it is personally directed toward we who are standing for the truth and exposing this and bringing out the full counsel of salvation. It's sort of like they're scolding and reprimanding, but yet not in knowledge, not in wisdom, and not really in love, even though it appears that they're trying to, quote unquote, bring the two sides together so we could all get along. And once more, Jesus said he didn't come to bring peace, but a sword. And doesn't matter, if you say, well, that's against your own brothers and sisters or whatever. Look, what's happening here is just bringing out the hearts. And if others are opposing it and mocking and hating and accusing, then that shows who they are and what's in their heart. That's all there is to it. So let me get to the school dream before this drags on too much longer. I'll just leave this up here to look at for a second. Again, it was a very brief dream. In the dream, I was sort of looking for some place that I had to go to. Like, I don't know if I was at times driving or in a car or on a bicycle. I think all of the above, and also walking. And it's like I knew I had to be somewhere. I didn't know exactly why or where. Then when I got to this, as I came to where I needed to go, it dawned on me that I was a teacher, and I was supposed to be at a certain school, and this was the first day of school, and I didn't know when school started, where the place was, if I was going to be late, or how to get there, any such thing. So next thing, what happened was I saw myself standing outside of this school, and I walked in, and I didn't know if it was the right place. I thought, well, I think I'm here. I think this is the place I'm supposed to be, even though I had no clue where that was or how to get there. And so I walked in, and I was wondering to myself, I wonder if classes started, if I'm late. But there was no one around, no children, no faculty, no one. So I continued to walk ahead, and I opened the door, and I went into this small classroom, and there were children in the classroom, just waiting there. And I was wondering, is this where I'm supposed to be? I don't know, what classroom, where was I supposed to go? Was this the right place? And so I found like this paper, like these papers, like with information on it, and I was looking to see maybe it said my name in the classroom that I was, where I was supposed to be, and I didn't really see anything on that. And so what happened was the kids, they left. Oh, well, actually, I think I told them, can you go try to find out for me where Mr. So-and-so, I told them my name, where the classroom is I'm supposed to be at. And so next thing I know, the kids left, and they went out of the classroom. I guess they went through the school or wherever trying to find information for me, where to go. And there was just one little girl left in the classroom, and she was just like expressionless, motionless, cold, like heartless, just standing there, like that's all. Like she didn't care. She didn't go with them. She wasn't a part of them who had, the spirit to help, to go find God's will, that type of thing, to go out and find and look and seek and help, help me find my place where I was supposed to be to teach them. And so I said to myself, I was going to leave, and I said, I can't leave this kid here all alone, so I'm going to have to take her, with me, drag her along. Not drag her along, but I mean, take her with me, because she really didn't care. And that's what I mean. So I went to go grab her hand. She sort of, put it out there, like, limply, coldly. And I grabbed her hand. It was like moist and cold, like lifeless, And it's like she didn't care to come with me or not. It was like I was just sort of like pulling her arm, and she was sort of like neither here nor there, She's like she didn't care, lifeless. And so I just pulled her hand, and then I started walking with her, and that was the end of the dream. It doesn't sound like much, but it corresponds with Amanda Christian's dream she had the night before about it being the last day of school, and the rapture. That was part of this, ready to leave. And these ones were left in the school, the learning of the mind, and they weren't coming. They were left there, okay, in their dark state, in the halls of knowledge, knowing, gnosis. And, so I knew I was supposed to be a teacher, okay, and that I was supposed to teach. And that was my first day of school, so this is sort of like symbolic of what's happening here since I started doing these Gnostic revelation type videos a week and a, whatever, 2 weeks ago. And then I didn't expect all of this. I wasn't a part of what was going on, in all of this mess going on, but it's sort of related. I don't know how to explain it. It all came together at once. And that's how this came to be. So here I am. I find myself in this place, in this time, starting to do teaching on this whole subject and the horrifying backlash, that this is causing. So anyway, again, to end this, that little child sort of represented the same mindset, without life, without a heart, she remained in the knowledge, in the classroom. She was just going to stay there. She wasn't going to leave and come along. And I tried to, take her with me, but she didn't care either way. She was just going to stay there, and she had no excitement or enthusiasm or purpose or whatsoever to go with me out of that classroom. So that it's the same very type thing. It really is. And the fact that I didn't know where I was going or where this was to be was sort of like God's leading. He led me, just like in the dream, I believe, led me to this point in doing these videos and coming out with all of this. And it was Him, by His Spirit, bringing this about, and all the correspondences and confirmations with others going on, the same type of dreams or related, and having to do with knowledge and darkness and the head knowledge, ever learning but never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, because the knowledge of the truth begins and ends in Jesus himself, and having him within you. That's what true knowledge is, knowing him and being converted inwardly as a little child. And again, these were little children, so they represented those who were converted like little children. They left the halls of knowledge, they left the class, and they were out seeking God's will and heard his call, and by his Spirit, all right? And then my other dream, if you didn't see the video, was the one with the doves in the dream, with the children again, crying out, Jesus is coming soon. Jesus is coming soon. They kept repeating in great excitement. So again, there's the children involved, okay? The message, unless you become as these children, Jesus said, surely you will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. And I tried to explain in, I guess, a couple videos before about the metanoia and all of that. You're being told, and have been told, that it means a change of mind. And I explained very clearly that word means completely the opposite. It means beyond the mind, or superseding the mind, in a conversion or heart change or character change, all those type of things. An inner birth, a spiritual birth, a transformation, passing from one form to another. And then the previous videos I just did, I showed a butterfly and metamorphosis. I tried to describe that. A caterpillar enters the cocoon and morphs or changes. There's a transformation, and it exits that environment of the cocoon to completely transform from a caterpillar completely into a beautiful butterfly that flies away, which we're about to do. So that's what metanoia really means. Like I said and showed, like a metamorphosis of a butterfly becoming one, in a change, transformation, born again, no longer staying in the previous form that it was, or state, but going beyond that, going beyond the mind, going beyond the thought, and the mental, and the doctrine, and the knowing, and the gnosis, when they just remain the same and haven't changed, and bore those fruits. And they do not want to approach that light because it exposes their hearts and the sin that is there. And there has not been a change. There has not a change of heart. Okay, so I just want to get to the final part of this. The dream of a starving cat, again with a missing leg, who was seeking milk, and also her starving kittens were near her. Okay, so again, I saw it was sort of limping right by me, and it couldn't sustain itself. It couldn't find nourishment for itself, or to give to its kittens through its own milk. And what I say is here that the analogy to the it's an analogy to the 4 legs or foundations of faith. It's part of what I have termed FCOS teaching, or the full counsel of salvation. But anyway, that came to my mind as soon as I woke up, about the 4 legs. Like Jesus said, to love the Lord with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. So I'm going to make this short, but I'm just explaining like some thoughts that came into my mind. Like if one of the if the main leg is missing, that would sort of represent the heart. Okay, and also an incomplete gospel that leads to death by spiritual starvation. Okay? Those teaching it and those listening to it. So in other words, the cat sort of represents someone teaching it, or, others, and then the cats feed off of that, like the mother cat, but there's no milk. There's not even milk, okay? And the whole idea of the cat was seeking milk, and we know the milk of the word sometimes is said in a general way about the word to be fed, but it's also used in a way of immaturity and incompleteness and understanding. And so that's sort of like what's going on here. There was just milk. There wasn't meat, the meat of the word, which is really the heart of the word, the heart, period, our heart, and Jesus entering that, our heart. If that's peg or leg is missing, you can't function, you can't be sustained, and neither can others be sustained, who are listening to such teaching, put it that way. So the cat appeared, limping on 3 legs. Didn't seem like the leg was recently cut off or removed, and sort of represents someone teaching and believing a false gospel, maybe for a fairly long time, and sort of left in that state. I said that I knew she had delivered kittens not too long ago, but they were all starving, though the kittens were pretty large and healthy to a degree, and sort of walking near the mother. But again, it's like spiritual immaturity, okay? These kittens, that's sort of what it represented. But then they were out of sight. They sort of left the mother. No, I only saw the mother. And the mother was staring at me, just like with this hopeless look of a face, like if a cat could talk and say, I'm hungry, give me something to eat, get me some milk, type of thing. And so, in this sort of weak condition, sort of pleading with me for that. And then so, if the mother was fed, of course, then she could be sustained and then be able to create her own milk to properly feed her own kittens. But that, there was nothing. It was just empty. There was, so I said to the cat, like, when someone talks to the cat, like, oh, stay there, I'm going to get you something, just sort of like that kind of thing. So I said that to the cat. I said, just wait here, I'm going to go and get you some milk. And it was almost like the cat was staring at me, like saying, if it could think, and saying, I'm not going anywhere, type of thing. And it was just looking at me hopelessly as I went to walk inside to go get it. And that was the end of the dream. So again, feeding on milk, not meat, not teaching the meat of the word, not solid sustenance, the basic foundations of everything over and over, just going around in circles. And I wrote some other notes that it was like they were like fairly strong kittens, so that might sort of represent that they were actually saved believers, but listening to the wrong teaching or teachers, and they strayed from the mother, which could mean that they realized they couldn't be nourished by her, and therefore they sought it elsewhere. They were mature enough and wise enough or discerning to seek the things of God elsewhere, realizing it was not being provided for by whom they were being taught by. They had independent minds and an inner sense of being led by God's Spirit to be fed. Or as Jesus said, my sheep hear my voice and follow me, and I give unto them eternal life. And finally, the mother cat was not walking properly or capable of feeding others and not suited to do so, which the wise kittens realized, all symbolic of false teachings and teachers. So that's it. That's what I have to say. And once more, Jesus talked about loving God with all your heart, and then differentiating that with mind and soul and strength. Again, like the 4 legs, 4 foundations, like that represented by the cat's 4 legs with one missing, and the heart being the main support, okay? The main part. And so these others, they're just showing that their hearts are in darkness, and they don't want to hear that. They don't want to accept that. But that's what is happening, and their hearts are being exposed, and that's why there's such violent reaction to what's happening, and a twisted understanding about what's being said, what the truth is, what the gospel, real gospel is. That's been cut short. Things just totally ripped out of it, which they don't see because they don't want to see. And really, Jesus himself is a bystander. He's not even really a main part except in their, doctrine. But that's as far as it goes. All right, that's all for now. See you later. I said basically what I had to say for now. Okay, bye.